Hey folks, see Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to yet another shoot and release video. You know that if I were to fumble upon something, you have to check the pinned comment. Okay, with that, let's get started. Today's video is going to focus on the impact of US election on stock markets. We first need to understand some absolute basics because, you know, I'm sure there are going to be some viewers who may not know the absolute basics like who belongs to which party. Because if you don't have any interest in politics, it's not even expected that you may know it. So Trump belongs to the Republican Party, Kamala Harris belongs to the Democrats Party. Okay, there are total 538 electorals who get selected or elected according to each state's policy, and so 538 divided by 2 would come down to 269, and that is the reason why 270 are the number of votes that will be required for a person's win. So if Trump were to win or if Kamala Harris were to win, they would need 270 votes so that they could become the president of United States of America. Now, if we were to get a clear verdict, if the election voting or I can say if the voting or the election results are skewed towards a specific party or a person, in that case, ideally we should get the results by tomorrow itself. But if it's like very close, it is going to take some time. There'll be some appeals in the court of law and all that, then in that case it may get dragged even till January, and in that state, oh god, I can't even imagine what will happen to the stock market, because one basic thing that everyone should remember always is market hates uncertainty. Okay, so if there is no clear verdict, you know that there could be a chance that markets could definitely remain sluggish or even could correct a little bit. Okay, anyways, be it any of the person who wins this election, ideally policy implementation should start somewhere in the month of February. Okay, now before I start with the actual discussion, let me clarify that I am not a political analyst. I am not even very good at politics in India. So politics in USA is like definitely beyond my syllabus. Then what have I done is that I have viewed a lot of videos on the internet of those people who are political analysts. Okay, I have read a lot of news articles, and based on that understanding, I have just tried to make this short video. I'm planning to make this around 10 to 12 minutes and just explain in brief a summary of whatever I have consumed on the internet. Okay, what I found that based on whatever I read or based on whatever I saw, none of them was talking about the huge piling up of debt for USA, which is almost around 36 trillion US dollars right now, and it is increasing month on month. None of them actually specifically focused on the $1.83 trillion of fiscal debt that USA has, and which could also go up to $2 trillion of debt in the coming future. So both these points could be a big pain, but as I mentioned, none of them was actually talking about it. So what am I going to do now? I'll share my screen and I will try and tell you about what are the key points that these people are focusing on. Let me just take this to full screen. Okay, and now let's understand the discussion, right? So first things first, you can see that for Trump, he has focused on tax cuts. He is a person who is like a pro-business person, and that is the reason why he said that I am proposing to cut rates from 21% corporate tax to 15%, and if that be so, it could boost the earnings potential by up to 4%. He is going to give more and more boosts, especially to those companies who are focusing on Make in America. Okay, so that is the first focus point for Mr. Trump, tax cuts. Second thing, he is going to impose more and more tariffs. See, he is of the opinion, like we say, Atmanirbhar Bharat. He's actually focusing on Atmanirbhar or Make in, we focus on Make in India as well, right? So he's focusing on Make in America. So if that be so, he's going to put more and more tariffs, and the target is also going to be definitely China. Now, if China were to be impacted because of this, China is not going to keep shut. China is not going to keep quiet. What they will do as a counter is that they may initiate more and more stimulus packages, right? And they could also ensure that their currency is, competent enough so that their goods can be comparatively cheaper in the global market, and for that they can also go to the extent of depreciating their currency a little bit. So all in all, if Trump wins, then there's a great chance that it could have a negative impact on the Chinese markets. We can see some downfall in the Chinese markets as well, and in that case, maybe the foreign institutional investors who have put some money in China, they can pull out money from China and put it in India, or what do you feel? If they were to pull out money from China, where would they invest? Let me know in the comment section what is your thought process. But one more point that we need to understand, that if they are putting more and more import restrictions on China, that means that it could inflate the cost of imports, and the moment your imports are costlier, your overall raw material costs are going to shoot up. It could also impact on the profitability of the US based companies. So all in all, even though import restrictions sounds good, which is a positive sentiment for Make in America, but simultaneously it's also going to hit the P&L, because that will increase the costs for their companies as well. He has very clearly mentioned that he will try and resolve the Russia-Ukraine conflict. See, I'm not here to again comment on whatever politicians say versus whatever they will do. We are not here to comment on that. I'm just mentioning facts, what he has said. Okay, and if that be so, if he's able to resolve this conflict, obviously it will have an easing impact on the commodities, including crude oil, and that is definitely going to be a plus, big plus for India if crude oil prices further ease out. Kamala Harris's focus is exactly opposite. She is not a pro-business person. So in this case, Kamala Harris has very clearly mentioned that even though she would also want to focus on Make in America, she would increase the corporate taxes from 21% to 28%. And if that be so, that is definitely going to put a downward pressure on the corporate earnings. And it is said that the earnings could go down by as much as 5% as well. What is her focus? Her focus is on consumption theme. So she's saying that rather than boosting more and more production and this and that, and giving more focus to businesses, let me empower people, and people should have more capacity to spend. The more capacity that they have on spending, that will indirectly impact positively, that will have an indirect positive impact on the production side and on the corporate side, is her thought process. Okay. Now what am I going to do after understanding these two focus points of these two people? Now let us understand about how could it impact our market, and that to specific sectors. Which sectors am I going to focus on? For that, if you have seen this live stream that I had done on during the Mahurat trading session, I had focused on 3 sectors. The first sector that I had focused on was about overall consumption theme. One more sector that I had focused on was renewables theme, and one sector was capital markets theme. So we are going to focus on how the presidential outcome, the win outcome, can impact these 3 sectors. So the first one is about the consumption theme. See, consumption typically rises when interest rates lower down. Okay. Now if the Republicans win, so basically if Trump wins, there is a possibility that he may still go ahead with a tighter interest rate regime. In simple words, Fed rate cuts may not be as fast as they would go otherwise. If Fed rates are not cut, there is a great chance that even in India, we may also not cut interest rates. And if that be so, then the chances that the consumption story of India may get a little bit negatively impacted. So that is a bad point. In that case, even NBFCs or banks, which are ideally expected to perform better, they may not perform better. In this whole story, it is, according to JM Financial, they have mentioned that public sector banks could still perform better. The reason that they have mentioned is the valuations are pretty much decent enough, and that is the reason why, even though NBFCs, banks as a space does not perform that well, public sector undertaking banks could still perform a shade better. The second one is about renewables theme, and both the candidates have mentioned that yes, they have a focus on renewables. But again, from Trump's perspective, if he were to win the election, there is a chance that the point that I talked about, right, he will impose heavy restrictions on China. And if that be so, again, India will be at a benefit, especially when it comes to exporting solar modules. And I'm just putting some stats in front of you. The overall export of solar modules to USA from India was at 600 crores in 2021, and that has grown to 10,500 crore in 2024. Now, in this period, it was not Trump's party which was in power. It was the Democrats, but under the regime of Democrats also, if this is the jump, then in that case, under the regime of Republicans, it could potentially grow at a faster rate as well. The third theme is about capital markets, and for that, it's very simple, right? If the markets are in a good mood, then typically people or institutions could tend to trade more, and which in turn could benefit the overall participants in the capital markets. But the data that I'm trying to put now is a little bit different. Be it party A or party B, Could there be a short-term reaction? Yes. What could be the short-term reaction? What is the reaction on the results day? For that, if you are having a look at this, in 2004, market went up by 1.7%. Let's not consider 2008. Reason is very simple. That was the year when we had witnessed the Lehman Brothers crisis. 2012, market went up by 13.6%. 2016, markets went up by 4.7%, and 2020 up by 4.3%. Now, if this be so, on the day of election is one story. But let's understand, what about 1 month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, post the results. Now, if you have a look at this Nifty 50 performance, post US election date performance. Let's not even look at the 1 month data, because as I mentioned, in the short term, there could be some jerks. If you look at the 3 month data and 6 months data, even 1 month data is not bad at all. But still, if I were to check 3 months and 6 months data, have a look at this. 3 months, 14.6% return. Even if you look at a 6 months perspective, 4.5% returns is not bad. 2008, again, let's not consider, it's an exceptional year. 2012, still 4 to 5% return. 2016, 3%, 10.5%. 2020, again an exceptional year, because markets had already corrected quite a bit. And important is an average which comes to 7% to 12%. So all in all, what have we understood in this whole discussion is that, be it the Democrats, be it the Republicans, could there be a jerk in the short term? Answer is definitely yes, based on their policies. But based on the overall scenario, what Nifty has seen in the past is that over a period of 6 months, markets have tend to perform better. So this was just, as I mentioned, just a summary of whatever I understood by reading a whole lot of news articles and consuming a lot of videos. I'm sure many of you who are watching this video could also be an expert in this discussion. So would love to hear your views as well. Please don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section below. If you did like the video, please don't forget to smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.